Only queer people in the 1960s and 70s did use psychedelics and in some cases had a noticeable impact on psychedelic culture. Hello, my friends of the Psychedelic Renaissance. It's Tom Hatzis, your psychedelic historian, and inventing psychedelic oneness was totally gay. One of the more well-known kinds of psychedelic experiences is the achievement of ego loss, or a sense of unity with the cosmos. A person might speak of feeling like she died and was reborn. First noticed during the heyday of mid-century psychedelic research, some physicians noted their patients experiencing a oneness with God. For many, it can feel like the ego has dissolved into a perfect state of cosmic unity, formally enshrined in the cliché, "We are all one," usually sung in poetic verse by a wook bogarting your joint at a festival.
Where's the drugs, bro? Fuck, I lost the drugs, bro.
One mid-century doctor put it rather bluntly. Disintegration of the ego under LSD leads to a beneficial effect deriving from the experience of belonging to and being accepted by a higher mind behind the universe. So where does this concept of psychedelic oneness originate? And, more importantly, who are the main proponents of it? Those are the questions I will try to answer in this video. But before we get started, if you're into this kind of content, please give this video a like and a share, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell icon so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Also, it'd be great to link up on Instagram. Find me at Psychedelic Historian. With that out of the way, let's get fabulous. Now, in our own day, some researchers have criticized the "we are all oneness" of psychedelia. In their article for Psychedelic Justice, titled "Why Oneness is Not Incompatible with Identity Politics," authors Catherine Costello and Marka Cassidy take issue with the fact that the Mystical Experience Questionnaire, which is more or less the paperwork that some psychedelic psychotherapists use to measure whether someone has had a healing experience, leaves far too many options off the table. For example, instead of producing stats that show the healing ratios of those who experience encounters with spirit guides, powerful somatic-based energetic experiences, reparative rational experiences, connections with nature, and strong sensory or even sensual experiences, the Mystical Experience Questionnaire focuses solely on oneness. I agree with Costello and Cassidy entirely. Meeting and conversing with entities, feeling an orgasmic kinship with nature, having powerful somatic experiences with psychedelics are all quite beneficial and have certainly helped heal some of my own bullshit and some of the bullshit of people I know personally. Costello and Cassidy are right on the mark. Oneness need not be favored among the rest. But for Costello and Cassidy, there is a much deeper issue with the concept of psychedelic oneness. They also wonder if white, cisgender, heterosexual men who developed and propagated the discourse of oneness are more likely to have that experience than queer or trans people. Only queer people in the 1960s and 70s did use psychedelics and in some cases had a noticeable impact on psychedelic culture, including the idea of oneness. Richard Alpert co-authored The Psychedelic Experience, a manual based on the Tibetan Book of the Dead, with Timothy Leary and Ralph Metzner. That book is the founding document of psychedelic oneness through the achievement of ego loss in Western civilization. Alpert took to these Eastern concepts in such a profound way that he changed his name to Ram Dass, meaning servant of God, while traveling through India in 1967. Allen Ginsberg wrote of his first LSD experience in this way: "I long for a yes of harmony to penetrate to every corner of the universe, under every condition whatsoever. A yes there is, a yes I am, a yes you are, a we. An image of the universe in miniature, conscious sentient part of the interrelated machine." I know poetry is subjective, but that sounds pretty "we are all one" to me. Gerald Hurd complemented these cosmic ideas of oneness with his own thoughts on mysticism. Alpert, Ginsberg, and Hurd were all gay, and they all contributed to the propagation of psychedelic oneness, an experience they all held in high esteem. And who knows how many other gay or queer people during the 1960s and 70s took LSD and achieved ego loss, especially those affiliated with the Psychedelic Venus Church, which was formed in 1969. The church was openly welcoming to homosexuals and used LSD and cannabis to hold wild orgies. Being gay did not stop any member from that church from experiencing a sense of oneness while on LSD. The idea of ego loss through psychedelics, it's not even a Western thing. It's an Eastern thing mixed with a Western thing. For now, we can say with a fair degree of certainty that a person's sexual identity did not inhibit her from experiencing oneness, or in some cases, really having a big impact on psychedelic culture. If oneness is a factor of privilege, as Costello and Cassidy maintain, then such privilege exists between even the two most unlikely demographics: ancient emaciated mystics meditating in the mountains of India, and mid-century gay white American intellectuals. Between those two extremes, it seems that we have more than enough room for any queer person living today to experience oneness if she chooses to do so. And personally, I'm speaking as one of those queer people who has. So, to my queer sisters and brothers interested in having this kind of experience, don't believe the hype. We are made from the same building blocks of every straight person on the planet. And despite what your mom, dad, and gender studies professor told you, we actually aren't all that unique. We just so happen to prefer mingling with people that have the same biological makeup. It really isn't all that impressive. And certainly, there isn't such an insurmountable difference between a gay person and a straight person that would inhibit the former from achieving oneness with psychedelic medicines. I mean, give me a break already. These identity politics and psychedelia are absolutely ridiculous. They are nothing more than academic abstractions created through a victim mentality that ignores every nuance of history. We've all drunk the sacred vine, my friends. How are we falling for this? We don't know the sexual orientation of the overwhelming majority of people who have taken psychedelics in the past half-century. There simply isn't enough information to even make an educated guess. Of those known gay LSD researchers who had a tremendous impact on psychedelic culture, well, their sexual orientation doesn't seem to have played any role whatsoever in the development of oneness. I mean, we talk about queer visibility in psychedelic spaces, and then go out of our way to erase the history of queer people in psychedelic spaces. Why don't we instead celebrate their achievements? The history of the psychedelic Renaissance is a grand, beautiful, majestic, sometimes disheartening and confusing, symphonic, breathtaking ode to the true final frontier, the furthest reaches of the uncharted mind and the unified soul. And that, in my opinion anyway, is way more interesting than any academic abstraction or identity politics. Well, my friends, that's all I have for you this time, and I'd love to thank you for stopping by. Please give this video a like and a share, subscribe to the channel, of course, if it all be your will, and let's meet up on Instagram. And until next time, I'm Tom Hatsis, your psychedelic historian, reminding you that you free your mind by using your brain. Peace.